much. First of all, Your Excellency, Bishop Justice, thank you for your celebrant, and your co-celebrants, Father Quinn and Father Seagate. Father Seagate is the 2011 recipient of the Chaminade Award. To our Principal, Kevin Asbrook, Board of Trustees, the faculty and staff, to our Fire Chief, Joanne Hayes-White, and to all of you, thank you. To Superintendent Maureen Huntington, thank you. It is a great honor, and I am truly honored by it. Brother Frank Spade mentioned a couple of things about the class of '55, and I will as well. First of all, the class of '55 was very unique, and still is, because they stayed together, and they're still together. They are also the first and only class to ever endow the Reardon Scholarship Program with more than $100,000. And we challenge any of you to do the same. Another unique thing of '55 was many of them were also alumni of St. Cecilia's in the class of '51, so for almost 70 years we have been friends and classmates. And I thank all of you for being here today. And I would like the members of the class of '55 to please stand. I'd like to introduce my family, of course. First of all, my wife, Janice. And our sons, John, Joe, and Mike. And our grandchildren.
Stand, Mariah. Stand up. Stand up.
Way in the back, and she's only 4 months old, so she will not stand. The grandsons may not be here today, they're in school, just like you are. Brother Frank Spade, I really appreciate his remarks because he was a wonderful teacher. He taught physics, but before I do that, I got to tell you about the first time I ever made a speech. It was right here, in 1951, I was a freshman. The teacher was James C. Lindley, for his benefit, his name. He was a good teacher, a very strict disciplinarian. And I was required to write a speech, and I did. And I was very proud of it. It was called Transportation, Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow. I took my place in the front of the class, Mr. Lindland sat on the back, and I began. About halfway through, he interrupted me and said, "Are you quite through?" And I said, "Well, no." He said, "Well, hurry up and throw it to Peter." That was James Lindley. He also walked around the classroom with an 18-inch ruler in his hand. And if you were not giving him your undivided attention, or he perceived that you were not giving him your undivided attention, that ruler came down on your knuckles, and I see some of the class of '55 were rubbing their knuckles. Now, Brother Frank is the last remaining teacher, or a brother, I should say, from our years at Reardon. And he did a fine job, and I'm very, very honored to have him here today. He taught, among other things, physics. And, you know, he made it simple. He took a complex thing like the convection of heat, transfer of heat by convection, and says, think about boiling an egg in water. Simple as that, convection. And that's where we learn physics from Brother Spade. Now, you won't realize it now, but years from now you will, what a Marianist education is like. It stays with you forever. Today, there isn't a day that goes by that I don't think of something, remember something that I learned at Reardon, the Marianist education. Simple things, like listening to sports announcers. You don't know what adverbs are. Reading the morning paper in the same sentence over and over until I can figure out what it is they're actually trying to say. Punctuation's gone out the window. They put commas everywhere. We used to have a rule, when in doubt, leave it out. I don't think they do that anymore. We get emails from people and they capitalize everything. So this was all part of the education. I did not realize how valuable it was, how important it was, or how much I really learned until long after I was out of rear. The first clue came in the Marine Corps. There was an opportunity to get an appointment to Annapolis, but you had to pass a test. I took the test. 5,000 other people did too. I came out number 3. I got the appointment. And the reason I did it was because I was Marianist educated. I had physics, chemistry, biology. We had Latin, Spanish, geography. We even knew where Persia was. So the things that we learned, you know, all of a sudden now came to the surface. And I'm beginning to realize that, wow, you know, that's pretty cool. The Marines have a saying that once a Marine, always a Marine. I'm a believer in that. It's also true of Marinist education. It's yours forever. And you will see, someday you will say, yeah, I remember that guy said that. And as you go through life, you will be reminded of how important that education was. Cherish it. Now, once upon a time I read or heard something about decisions. The decisions you make in life really steer you where you're going to go. I made 4. The first one was to go to Reardon. My father wanted me to go to Sacred Heart because that's where he went. My mother's brothers all went to St. Ignatius, so she wanted me to go there. And I wanted to go to Reardon. And I convinced my parents to let me make that decision. Now, I could stand here and say it was very scientific. I compared a Jesuit education to a Christian Brothers education, but I don't think you'd believe me. I don't blame you, because that's not true. I had a more scientific reason. My buddies from St. Cecilia's were going to Reardon. So that was the first decision, and it was a good one. And it did last. It does last a lifetime. The second decision came to join the Marines. Now, some of our teachers in those days were Marines. Brother Spaeth was, and Ed Fendley, the legendary coach, was. That probably had an influence. At any rate, after the first year of college, I was really rudderless and didn't know where I was going, so I decided to get the draft out of the way, and we all went down to the draft board. I don't know what I did. I was in the Marines. And that was a good decision. While serving in the 1st Marine Division, a friend of mine said that, well, some of his classmates were coming out from Michigan for a visit. And they wanted to have us show them around Southern California. Sure, okay, blind date. I met this young lady named Janice in Ann Arbor, Michigan. The rest is history. And we have been married for over 52 years. And as you can see from this large family, we're very proud of them all. When you come to these decisions, think about what G.K. Chesterton wrote about sailing ships. He said it's the cut of the sails and not the gales that determine the way they go. I'd like to tell you a little story about what it was like to be in high school with Reardon in the 50s. I used the year 1953 because that was the year we all got our driver's license, or most of us did. Saturday night day. We had $10 to spend from our after-school jobs, so the first thing we did was we filled up the car with gas. 13 cents a gallon. When I went to 17 cents, I thought the end of the world was coming. So then we picked up our date, drove across the Golden Gate Bridge and paid a 25-cent toll. Then went to Marin Joe's for dinner, prime rib, $1.75. Then we went to the Rose Bowl in Larkspur and danced under the stars in the big name bands for $1. On the way back, we paid another 25-cent toll. We had to pay a toll both ways. And drove down the Embarcadero to the ferry building, parked in front of the ferry building, and took a ferry boat ride across the bay for 25 cents. When the ride was through, we came back and we went to St. Francis Creamery, 24th in New York, and got a soda. And then the evening was just about over. It's time to go home. Time to take our date home. And it's about that time we started thinking, maybe we'll get lucky. Well, wait a minute. Getting lucky in the 50s may be a little different than it is today. Getting lucky in the 50s meant getting a kiss goodnight. Now, traditionally, you take the girl home to the front door up on the porch, get this kiss goodnight. One of our classmates, I don't want to mention his name, but his initials were Kevin Reedy. He takes the date up to the porch and says goodnight, hoping for the kiss goodnight. She's, no, Kev, no. I never kiss on the first date. I'm daunted. Kevin says, how about the last?
Actually having your girlfriend of mine who's taking that out of context.
Yeah, that's so funny though.
I'm very proud to be here. You should be proud to be here as well. This is a great institution, and it's going to make a difference in your lives forever. In closing, I have one message for you. Send us your son.